What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is commitment to your life. And the noise you just heard was my cat trying to get my attention. So, how many problems are you dealing with right now? What if the reason you have problems is that you're not completely committed to yourself and to your life? So, let's play with that idea. Let's look at what does commitment to your life means, what is commitment, and all of those ideas. Because for me, that's the topic I've been, I want to say, struggled with, but I would say considered more than anything over the last few years, more than a few years. Anyway, I'm a medical doctor, so I've dealt with life and death situation pretty much all my life. My mom was a doctor, so I've seen it ever since I was growing up. And seeing people choosing death at that time, I didn't know that. To me, kind of like life was so precious on one side, on cognitive side, that I couldn't imagine that people would choose death. Well, I didn't know about choice anyway, because up until in my 30s or late 20s, I had no idea that people had choice. It was pretty much you do things, you decide, you compute, you look at the possibilities, and in a way you choose, but I didn't feel like I had choices. It was more kind of like something or someone deciding for me, even though a lot of my choices were based on either aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting to other people. So there was no actual choice as a choice, because I had no idea what choice was up till probably I came to Access Consciousness, which was founded by Dr. Gary Douglas and co-founded with Dr. Dane Hare. And we'll be talking about some of those tools, also maybe some tools of Akashic Records. We'll see what our conversation will lead us to. So being a like I grew up in Russia, and people who listen to my podcasts or been to my classes, they know a little bit of my history. And if this is the first time you're joining me and you're hearing it for the first time, that's kind of like my story. It does not define me, and it just like explains some of the things that I'm choosing now different than I did before. So I was born in Moscow, actually in Odessa, but mom was on vacation. I grew up in Moscow and left when I was a child, kind of 17, child slash young adult. Went to University of Illinois, Rush Medical College, and finally became a doctor. A couple of failed marriages. And in one of those marriages, I was like, I don't have a choice. And the woman says, not having a choice is still a choice. Because a lot of times, what we do, a lot of us are choosing to die instead of choosing something different, something greater. I know with me, I was doing that all my life. because I almost died when I was 3, almost died when I was 6, 8, and then at 37, created a heart disease where I needed open heart surgery to correct it and had bypass. That was a moment of kind of like, what am I choosing? Am I choosing to live or to live? It's like death or life. And at that time, my child was small, 9 years old, and I'm like, I have a reason to be alive. So that was a moment where I committed to my life, and I knew that moment very well. And that commitment actually was a choice, because there is a difference between choice, necessity, and decision and judgment. All of those things play a role in our lives. Because death is like at this moment for me, death is not scary. Death is not something that I would avoid by not being alive. Because sorry, I'm ADD, so I'm jumping all over the place because there's so many thoughts going in my head right now. Um, First of all, when we alive, being alive means have joy, is being us, basically. That's when we're choosing to be alive, to live. Choosing death is also simple, just choosing to die. But a lot of times it's not so much clear cut, because sometimes we avoid death and not being alive. It's more about survival and dealing with the problems over and over again, or creating problems so we don't die. And that is our reason for living, but it's not life. It's not the excitement of life. What if we can actually be alive and not avoid death? And sometimes people choose death so they don't live with their problems. I'm going to use a clearing statement of access consciousness, and you can check it out on the website, theclearingstatement.com. So everywhere where you decided that life is avoiding death, will you destroy and uncreate that? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, back and pat, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because this is about choices. And choice is only good for 10 seconds. And by the way, I love Access because it gives us tool to decide what's true for us, what's not. And when it's light, it's true. When it's a lie, it's usually heavy and contracting. So don't believe me what I'm saying here. If it's light, just choose it. If it's heavy, don't. Doesn't apply to you. And sometimes people say, but what about heavy topics? Well, a lot of heavy topics might not be true. And even with death as being considered a heavy topic, taboo topic, a lot of things would I say, if it feels light, that's true. It doesn't have to be heavy when we talk about something considered a heavy topic. So everywhere where you decided heavy topic is heavy, no matter if it's true or not, will you destroy and uncreate that? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, back and pat, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So how many of your problems actually were created so you don't be present in your life? Because a lot of times we create things. And sometimes it's not even created this lifetime. We talk a lot about karmic stuff that we chose in previous lifetimes. And karma is nothing more than unfinished business. Karma is something we chose in past life, and we keep choosing the same thing over again. Doesn't have to be past life. If you don't believe in reincarnation, things you chose this lifetime and you keep repeating them, that's karma. It's not something that you have to follow, but in some ways you've decided you do. It's bizarre, and you can choose something that allows you to be actually aware. I remember hearing in Access that doubt is one of the distractor implants, because we have a lot of programming which called distractor implants, and those programming are the ones that's not allowing us to be present in our lives. And the topic of today, the commitment to your life, is actually commitment to be present with everything that's going on and choosing joy, choosing more abundance, more life, instead of avoiding life and avoiding death and avoiding being present. So all of that is part of commitment to yourself, because we know that we commit to our spouses when we get married. We commit to our job when we sign the contracts. All of those things, actually, the commitments are basically, let's start with commitment. Commitment actually means you're committed to insane asylum, insane institution, or jail. So that was original meaning. So when we commit to something or somebody other than ourselves or our life, it's pretty much insanity. And I'm so grateful you're listening to that conversation, because that conversation is for me as much as for you, because I'm tapping into the energies and see what comes up. And oops, it's time for our first break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we'll continue talking about what is commitment, what commitment to you and your life is, and we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, Join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is commitment to your life. What is your life? What is commitment to that? Because a lot of people look at me when I talk about that, they're like, life? Yeah, day-to-day activity. And a lot of times people are not even present in their lives. I know I wasn't. If you ask me right now what my life was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I kind of have an idea, but I don't remember majority of it. Certain things I can recall, like major events. For major events, we are usually present because there is that rush of adrenaline where there is either excitement with a good events, or there is a lot of like the endorphins and a lot of like positive hormones that reinforce it, or as we said, negative with like death of loved ones or like divorces or like negative events. And I'm saying it specifically, there is no positive or negative, there is no actual good or bad, right and wrong. Everything is just a choice, but we judge it as positive or negative, and the hormones are the same. Adrenaline, it's rush, um, either positive or negative, it's still the same hormones that makes us present, either fight or flight. And so we remember those events, but the routine, as we call it, usually we don't. And that's where we just survive, or we just avoid death, or we just kind of like doing a routine, but not being ourselves. That's where we are cutting ourselves. Um, Pretty much to fit into this reality. And that's why a lot of times we don't even remember it, because we don't want to remember it. We don't need to remember it. A lot of it is just routine. So is that why you create problems? So you actually come out of routine and start being aware of what's going on. And a lot of people do that. And a lot of people look at their lives and say, I don't want to live like that. Those thoughts, or I don't want to be in this relationship, I don't want to live with that person. And a lot of times that is kind of like creating death. That's not the commitment to your life. That's actually a commitment to not being alive, commitment to death. So how many of you in this 10 seconds committed to death instead of life? Would you be willing to choose something different? And it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you don't choose death, because if you're living in a terrible situation, maybe it's a choice. This is where not having polarity, because nothing is good or bad. Because for some people, dying is maybe a good thing, because they're suffering. In this 10 seconds, they're suffering. There is no chance of survival. And for some people, they might choose to stay alive, or actually to live, to be alive, to have a joyful life instead of that miserable existence. I was dealing with a lot of life and death situation in my life, and I thought I kind of like was over it. that I was committed to my life. And my cat last week actually showed me I'm still struggling with the issue of letting go, with the issue of committing to my life, with issue of letting other people choose for them. And by people, I mean actually people and animals or plants, because all of them have consciousness. And my cat decided suddenly that she creates some disaster. And I still not sure what she's choosing, or she might not be sure what she's choosing. Um, in this moment, I'm sensing more commitment to her life. And yet I'm looking at myself and I'm not even sure that I'm committed fully to my life. The way to know is that you wake up and every single day you're looking forward to that new day and everything looks bright. And you might have problems. I'm not saying not having problems, but those problems are not insurmountable. They're not huge. They're just another thing to kind of like play with. That's what commitment to your life actually is, when you're committing to being present with what is. And I'm not saying joyful doesn't mean you get sad. You don't get sad. It doesn't mean that you don't get upset. It don't mean that you don't get angry. All of the emotions. I'm talking about commitment is about being present with everything. Because a lot of times we try to get away from the problems. We trying to get away from our life. Like the last couple of days, I was pretty much watching TV and that was my escape. And I realized that, wait, what is that? And suddenly I'm like, oh, wait, I'm escaping. That's not commitment. And immediately I started pack and padding. And pack and padding is the clearing statement I was talking about. You can just pack and pad whatever is coming up. And the moment that I stopped judging it, that I realized that that was a commitment to my life. When we judge ourselves, when we judge and make ourselves wrong, that's not being committed to our lives. Commitment to our life is being okay with everything, kind of like not having a judgment about ourselves, about our lives, whatever is, it just is. It's a choice we made, and some of those choices might be conscious, unconscious, or anti-conscious, and they might have been made years ago. And I'm talking about years ago. It might have been 10 years ago that somebody, and I know that example, there was a lady who said, I don't want to hear that. I'm not ready to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Guess what? 10 years later, she started losing, she actually gradually started losing hearing. But 10 years later, she lost 80% of her hearing. And like talking to her, you realize that's what created that thought pattern, created that result. She actually committed to not hearing. Because a lot of times we commit to something other than our lives. We commit to our problems. We commit to avoiding the problems. And a lot of times that's the choices that create, because any choice create. What does it create? Something. It can create a wonderful expanded life, or a choice can create shit in our lives or problems. Which one would you choose? When we are committed to ourselves, to our lives, a lot of times we create less shit. It doesn't mean we don't create shit. Because I don't think I've seen a person ever that didn't create shit. Maybe Gary, maybe Dane. But yeah, probably Gary is one person that doesn't create shit. Or maybe Buddha in his wisdom didn't create shit at some point. But and it's just part of our human existence. But the commitment to our life is about choosing to be, and choosing to be ourselves without conforming to other people's judgments. And that includes our judgment too. We don't have to cut and mutilate ourselves based on trying to fit in. And again, I'm going to say, when you're trying to fit in and cutting part of you or cutting part of your life to be more normal, that's not commitment to you or your life. And let's face it, can you be normal? And what is normal? What is that norm that everybody talks about? Everybody is unique. Everybody is such a gift to this universe. It's like looking at symphony and symphony orchestra. There are so many different instruments, so many different musicians, and each sound, each instrument makes a beautiful sound that's put together as an amazing harmonic symphony. Each person is committed to that music, to each note in the symphony, and they know that that's how the symphony will be played. What if we commit to our life just like musicians do, based on your commitment to your life, to your instrument, to your body? Oops, time flies. And it's time for our second break of the show. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. When we continue, we'll continue to talk about commitment to your life and your body and everything. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time. This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is commitment to your life. And before we went on the break, we were talking about kind of like being committed to your life is like being an orchestra, and commitment to your body as much as to your life is like being committed to the instrument that you're playing. Because your body has a consciousness of its own. So, what do we do most of the time? We ignore the body, we judge the body, we abuse the body because we know what we're supposed to eat. And do we do that? Mm-mm. Body kind of like reacts to it sometimes, like allergic reactions or throwing up or some other form of, I'm not having this thing in my body. So, when is that commitment to you? No. So, what if we chose to look at our body as something that we can have a communion with, a relationship with, where we can commit to it? First of all, think about how much you judged your body and abused your body over the last how many years you've been on this planet. If it was your friend, maybe even a dog, well, the cat definitely would run away, but a friend or a dog, if you told your friend or your dog everything you told your body or feed whatever you fed the body and abuse the body as much, would the friend stay or the dog stay? No, they would go away and the body is still there. So I love this exercise, and that probably will be the tool of the week. And my invitation to you to do that every morning and maybe every night. It's very simple. Okay, it's very hard. You cannot do that because that's how you motivate the humanoids to do something. You tell them that you cannot do that. Oops, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. But anyway, so it's very simple. The way I do it, I kind of like create a little energy ball between my hands and kind of like Tai Chi ball. You breathe into that, you create some energy between your hands and kind of like put it on your face. Put your hands on your face and just say, thank you, body. Thank you, body, for being with me. Thank you for kind of like carrying me around. Because body is the one walks in this world. Body is the one eats. Body is the one sleeps. Body is the one wearing clothes. And body is the one having sex. How much joy can you have from sex? Can you have sex without the body? Probably, but it probably wouldn't be so much fun. So you can touch your body and say, thank you for being with me. Thank you for carrying me. Thank you for kind of like allowing me to use you. And maybe you can say, I'm sorry for all the abuse you did to the body. I wonder how much that will change the relationship with your body and how much of a choice that would make to be more present with your body. And just asking, what if you choose to commit to your body? Just like you would commit to a friend or a spouse, but actually more than that. Because body is already committed to you. Body is the one that's been carrying you throughout everything. Body's been committed to your life, and then you're the one that's choosing something different. Because when the being, the soul, call it whatever you want, choosing not to commit to your life, guess what? You're choosing to kill your body. And the body doesn't have any points of view. If you're choosing that, it will just like, okay, cool. You're going to kill me? Fine. I'll die. And I'll turn into something else. Because our body is made out of molecules. It's not solid. It's just made out of energy solidified by our choice of being here. So when we're no longer here and the body is not required, it will be dissolved in the ground and turn into something else, into ashes, into, like, if it's cremated, or it will be food for worms in the ground. And another life will be formed. Maybe a tree will grow. Maybe something else will grow from that. And body doesn't have a point of view about that. But to you, what do you choose? Are you choosing to commit to your life now? And I'm not trying to convince you. It's your choice. It depends on your choices. What would you choose? Would you choose to continue destroying yourself, destroying your body, or will you choose to commit to your life and start creating joy in your life? Start creating more money. Start creating more health, more vibrant relationships. What if all of that is that separates you from all of that abundance? What if it's just your choice of committing to your life and to your body and to your being? It's a commitment of being you. How much different would it be? Just sense the energy for a second. Just allow yourself to be present with what is. And just like we did that exercise with the body and thanking the body, look at the judgment you have right now. Judgment of you, judgment of your body. What's coming up? And are those judgments actually yours? Or are you just aware of other people's judgments? I wonder how much of it is yours, how much you are aware, and how much you bought from other people as yours. How much you've been judged all your life, and you've resisted and reacted to those judgments. You aligned and agreed with some of them, and yet somehow, somewhere in a cognitive or unconscious, non-cognitive mind, you still carry all of those judgments. What if you let go of them? What if instead of commitment to your judgments, you'll say, fuck that. I'm going to be committed to my life. I'm going to be committed to me. And by the way, when you're committing to yourself, it doesn't mean you eliminate other people from your life. It's actually opposite true. Because when we are committed to not being in our lives, not committed to our lives, we make ourselves so small, our lives so small, that we cannot have that many people in our lives. So we're actually eliminating other people from our life. When we're committed to our lives, it's about choosing more for us. So we actually will have more people in our life and more of things, more of stuff, more of everything that we actually choose. And we actually will have more people that are contribution to our lives instead of trauma and drama? What if we just be that? Because similar attracts, opposite attracts. And sometimes it's like you can attract similar and sometimes opposite. So, what if by committing to your life, you will attract only what you desire, not what's similar, not what the opposite, but something that you actually need and like and choose in your life? Because now you'll have a conscious way of living your life, not unconscious, because you'll be present with every moment. You'll be present with every person, with every animal, with every molecule in the universe. And you can actually receive the contribution of everything when you're committed to your life, instead of just walking through your life and resisting and reacting and aligning and agreeing with everything other people choose or decide or judge or be or whatever. What if it's simpler than you think? What if it's just being, being who you are? And that's what commitment is too. Choosing in the moment, choosing being present. And it doesn't mean you don't go to work and you don't do this and you just do nothing. No, this is about choosing what works for you in the moment. If working is at the work that you might not like as much, is a contribution to your life because it brings you money. What if you look at that and it suddenly becomes less ugly, less devastating? And now you can like, oh, cool. This is bringing me money. And what else can I be and do that will bring me more money? And so on and so forth. What if you just be in the question and always ask questions? What else is possible? And how does it get any better than that? That's what commitment to your life is. Always looking for what will create more in your life instead of less. And it's time for our third break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is commitment to your life. And just to say, we've been using tools of access consciousness, which was founded by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane Hare. And you can find all of those tools and classes on accessconsciousness.com or on my webpage, Creating Abundance with Ease. And there are a few classes coming up where you can learn the tools. the basic class, which is bars class. That's going to be February 23rd, and foundation March 5th through 8th, as well as the body class, which is more advanced and does require foundation, actually coming up in February 5th through 7th. And there is one coming up in March after foundation. Also, intensity of being you class. Those are about actually committing to your life, about being who you are, being all of you. And they're called adventures in being, or being you adventures. And there's going to be one day, being you adventure, which is intensity of being, which will be split into 2 days, March 3rd and 4th, as well as introductory class on February 22nd. And this radio show, podcast, TV show, it's pretty much every week, Wednesdays, 11 o'clock Central Time. And you can find out about your time on the website. And next week, we'll be also talking about, because this week we're talking about commitment to your life. Next week, I'd like to touch base on your reason for living. It's about actually not so much purpose of life, but it might be. So, and it's so funny because when we talk about purpose of life, it's about having fun, having joy in your life. And that's what commitment to your life is about, choosing to have fun every moment of your life. So look at your life. Is each day better than the one before, or at least as good? Are you enjoying every moment of your life? And if not, what choice can you make that will change that? What if you committed to that? What if you actually chose every moment? What's fun for you? What is? What is it that makes the world go around for you? Just saying. What if it's simple as choosing to go for a walk, or watch TV, or play with a cat, or just look outside? There is an amazing tool that just I remembered now. Universe, show me something beautiful today. And guess what? The universe always does. Because as soon as I said that, I looked outside, and it's winter in Chicago. We just had a snowstorm a couple of days ago. And it's so beautiful. It's all white. Snow is covering, there are mountains of snow pretty much. And looking from a warm house to outside, it's so pretty. Because I remember expression, there is no bad weather for nature. Nature doesn't have bad weather. Earth doesn't have a bad weather, because all that bad weather is a judgment. What if you didn't judge what kind of weather is in your life? What if it would be just always good? Um, when I was going to say when I was growing up, but it was actually growing up psychologically, emotionally. Years ago, I was taking Phoenix Rising Yoga, and we did a meditation on Osha tarot cards. And one of them is a picture of three women dancing in the rain, actually in a storm. And the idea was that you have joy, you dance, no matter what's going on in your life. And guess what? My life was pretty much stormy all my life. I don't even remember the quiet period, except maybe now that we are in social isolation, where it's forced quiet, and yet it's still filled with joy. So that's my invitation for today. We have only a few minutes left in the show. I just invite you to commit to your life. And it's not like I'm committing to my life. Um, it's much trickier than that and much simpler than that. It's about choosing every moment. It's simpler in the way that you just choose joy. You just choose what's light. Just choose what's fun for you and go from there. Every moment, every 10 seconds, every hour. And it's not like, oh, I commit. So with just a couple of minutes left, just wanted to invite you again to the classes if you choose, but you don't have to. There are a lot of other free programs that I'm doing. I'm going to be doing some free Zooms coming up, some Facebook Lives that you can watch on either Facebook, of course, my page, Creating Abundance with Ease page. Just connect with me on social media, as well as on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel, and there are a lot of free videos, free webinars that you can watch and enjoy them. And there are new tools. And then you can choose some classes. Right at this moment, all the live classes are going on in Chicago area, but some of them, and majority of them, are available online, like Foundation, Bars class. Bars class will be live. But Foundation and Being You Adventure will be available online. And I can tell you, they are as good, if not better, online, because somehow distance makes it stronger. Or how do you say, distance makes your heart desires more? Just saying, just allow yourself to choose more for you. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And how much more can we be in the world if we decide to, or if we choose to commit to our lives? Instead of dying, we will be actually alive and vibrant and be present. And what if that will be invitation to other people to choose the same? What if by us choosing more for us, other people will choose more for them? Do you think that war, devastation, all of those insanity, even with COVID, will exist in the face of our committing to our lives? I wonder how much of all of this is part of not being committed to our lives and actually committing to the death and not living. What if you chose every single moment to have fun? What would that create in your life? That's my little words of wisdom for today. And don't forget your homework for this week to do the body appreciation exercise and kind of like a communion with the body every single day, in the morning and at night. And that's actually part of the commitment to your life that you can choose on daily basis. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.